Mr. HD coming back with another wide receiver question. Jadon Haselwood, is he going to finally fulfill the hype?
He needs to. Like, it's going to be big for Oklahoma this year. We talked a little bit about the wide receiver group. This is a five-star kid, one of the best receivers in the country. Again, very much like Bridges, hasn't completely lived up to the hype. 2018 played a little bit, as a freshman. Certainly wasn't one of the best, but he contributed. 20, 25 catches, I believe, that he ended up with the season. Then, unfortunately, last year through the summer, he tore his ACL, came back for a couple of games. Wasn't really the same guy that he'd been in, that he was in the past. So, elected to skip. Really just a tough year for him. Everything, had the ACL, came back for a couple of games, then got in kind of a COVID protocol. I'm not sure if he actually contracted COVID or just was contact tracing. So he missed a couple of games. Then he didn't feel like that he, was really up to what he set his standards for himself. So he elected to kind of go home and train and miss the Cotton Bowl against Florida. So I think the things that I've been hearing about him, he's doing well in practice. I think he had been in a position where, for a couple of weeks here through spring, he's, having problems trusting the knee, which is typical, I think, from an ACL injury, especially at a wide receiver position when you're doing a lot of cutting, sudden movements and things like that. So I think, he was having trouble, but I think over the last week, I've heard a lot more positive from his play, really trusting the knee a little bit, really making some big competitive catches. So he's a guy that Oklahoma is counting on. He will certainly be a starter for Oklahoma this year. And he needs to be productive. We talked about the depth, or maybe the struggle there, but he's a guy who's a big wide receiver who was one of the best, maybe the number one receiver in the country in that class. I believe it was 2018 class. And so he's in the mold of some of those kids that kind of a put up or shut up this year. So I think he has the opportunity to make some noise and be productive for this team.